Hello, everyone. Just wanted to come on here to firstly say it has been a hot minute since I've recorded, or edited, or done anything with the podcast. And there has been good reason for that. I have gone through something quite traumatic in my life. So had to pause everything and just prioritize the bare necessities that I needed to do to get me through this period. So this episode I had recorded probably like 3 months ago. And I just started with editing it, but I didn't have a chance to finish it. So I've only done that now. But also, the first time ever this has happened, we've had an issue with my guest's audio towards the end. For some reason, the last 10 minutes of his absolutely inspiring story and advice and insights, unfortunately, have not been picked up by his microphone and recorded. So there was no way of me trying to recover that audio file. So I've had to just do my best. The last 10 minutes is just me just responding to what he had said. I've tried to make it make sense. Hopefully you enjoy the episode because it is honestly so jam-packed with all the beautiful things that creativity and grief can actually bring together in such an artistic manner. So enjoy the episode. I apologize in advance and go and show my guest some love. I'm sure a lot of you already follow his work. He is one of the most inspirational and artistic people I've ever met. So enjoy.
Welcome to the 111 Approach podcast, your go-to space for deep thoughts, real talk, and exploration of everything from spirituality to self-development and the mysteries of life with some light-hearted humour along the way. I'm your host, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer, and each episode will dive into different topics, sometimes personal, sometimes thought-provoking, but always authentic. So whether you're here for some new perspectives, inspiration, or just a fresh take on the world with a bit of randomness thrown into the mix, you're definitely in the right place. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 111 Approach podcast with me, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer. And you all know by now, I always start and finish everything I do with gratitude. So thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode and for supporting me and my work. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce someone who I've been trying to get them on my podcast for almost a year now. It's taken us a while, hasn't it? But finally, we have made our schedules synced, and I'm very excited to bring to the virtual stage someone who is so creative and so talented. I actually found you on Instagram because I think I really resonated with one of his artworks and posts, not just the beauty of the image and what it stood for, but actually the caption and the message that was being portrayed. And I think I tagged you in it and you messaged me and was like, oh, thank you for sharing. And I was like, mate, that spoke to my heart. So without further ado, and I apologize in advance if I've messed up the pronunciation of your name, it is the one and only Shounak Tewarie. Did I say it right?
You say it right, Lakshmi. Thank you.
Yay! Welcome to the pod. I always ask my guests to introduce themselves and tell us a little about your origin story, because we all have one.
Yeah, so Lakshmi, thank you first for inviting me and bringing me into the pod. I really appreciate that. And we've been busy a while getting this together, so I'm happy it's finally we got a date and we're here. Yeah, my name is Shounak Tewarie, 48. Um, I'm born in Suriname, South America. I'm third generation Indian, so my great grandparents went from India, South America,
Mhm.
the colonization of the Dutch and all, and then my parents came from Suriname to the Netherlands. So, and here I
Interesting.
am. So my mom passed away in 2013. That was one of my biggest, things that happened in my life, and also kind of formed me in what I do today.
I'm sorry to hear about your mom. I
Yeah,
said,
it
I'm
was
really
really one of
sorry. It's hard losing a parent. It's really
yeah,
difficult, isn't it? Mm.
yeah, because you were telling me you had the same thing as well with your dad, right?
Yeah, I think that's how we bonded as well a little bit.
Yeah, that's I
I know,
remember.
remember now, I do remember because you shared a post. Well, I shared your artwork before, and then you shared a post about the anniversary of your mom's passing, I think. and I could
Yeah.
just feel the energy behind it. And that's when I reached out and I said, you know what, it's such a beautiful thing you shared. And that's
Yeah.
when we got to talking, and then we were like, listen, I really want to get you on and for you, people to hear your story as well, because it's so interesting. But you're right, things like that do shape who we've become. And
Yeah.
as sad as it
But
is, it's the
yeah,
love that carries on, right?
it is, but it also it's kind of double, because I've never been the
Mm,
same again.
yeah.
Like it really shaped me. People say in a good way, but also for myself in a bad way. But I don't want to keep the conversation really like too depressing or something. It's like it
Oh,
shaped me.
no, please be real. We want real. I like to talk about real stuff. I don't like to be like, "Oh, let's just always be happy and positive."
No, no,
We talk about real stuff. Like, I hear you, because I see when people say, "Oh, the death of my loved one, I'm grateful for." Like, you can get there, but we also have to talk about how you just said, and I loved how you said that. Like, it shaped you for the good, but it also changed you as well, maybe not in the best way. And there's always a duality. So there's always the good stuff that comes with the bad stuff. So yeah, please
yeah.
talk about however you feel comfortable.
Okay, sure. No, definitely. I would love to because it made it like my mom was for me, she was my everything, for me, she was like always supportive. Like actually like most mom are. But with me and my mom was different. It was a really, really tight bond. It was like she was more like my best friend. And I could talk with her about everything, about girls, about work, the other way around with her as well. But also business
Yeah.
minded and creative wise, my mom and I were like really the same alliance. She was very, very groundbreaking in the things what she did. She was into fashion, also started for
Okay.
herself, worked with one of the biggest chains worldwide, delivering b- um, like accessories for fashion, like shawls, headscarves,
Yeah.
jewelry, all these kind of brands. So
Wow.
the fashion sense came in from there. And my dad is very creative with painting, drawing, and that kind of stuff, and with music. So from both my parents, I got a lot of things in me. So I started designing around 2006. I was in the middle of a burnout of my former job. I was working in sales of a touring agency, and from there, my ex-wife at that time, she was like, "Why don't you do anything with your creativity? Because you love drawing, you love to do things." And at that time, there was like this page on internet, Santa Banta, maybe you know it. It was like a Bollywood page where you can get wallpapers from all the famous Bollywood actors and actors.
Oh, no.
So I tried to create some Bollywood images and wallpapers and stuff like that, just to get myself a bit into Photoshop and things like that. So I'm self-learned and self-taught. So then I started to get more into design, and all of a sudden, I was like emailing all these clubs and events in organizations in the Netherlands with my work, what I was doing for flyers and stuff. So in 2006, I started with nothing. I emailed like 30 clubs and event organizations, and within a month, I had like over 40 to 50 clients doing all the big events and DJs and stuff in the Netherlands and also internationally, because my style that's
Wow.
really unique.
So you didn't go to design school, you didn't go to
Uh,
any drawing or art
I was very creative in drawing, and I had always creativity. I was like a real dreamer. I was
Yeah.
always looking up into the clouds and always in my head. And people always like, "He's such a dreamer," and people make always fun
Yeah.
of me. So I started with flyer design.
Mhm.
Quite so and my luck was one of my best friends from high school. He was one of the most successful DJs at the time. It was DJ Chucky. He had his own concept in Ministry of Sound that I was the brand developer creative director. So in 2006 to 2000, let me say 18, I ruled the dance industry for 15 years. I worked with Tiesto, Armin van Buuren, Afrojack, David Guetta, Calvin
Oh,
Harris. Those are the DJs, but also the R&B artists like Chris Brown, Neo, Snoop Dogg, like so many.
so you worked with them on what?
On multiple things, like their concert tours, their album
Mhm.
releases,
Oh,
their performances, their singles, some even the merchandise. So everything around them I would create. So that was really, really
brilliant.
cool.
That's
Yeah. So
cool.
yeah, so I was also now I still work a lot in the international market. So when my mom passed away, she was a huge believer of Shiva. And I was really kind of pissed. So I created an artwork and I posted it and I wrote a story with it. That shoe went viral. That was one of my first things that really went viral on social media. It was a very, very plain artwork, black and white. but it's broken with a lot of steam coming out of it. And I wrote my story like, how could you take my mom away? She was always in favor of you and always
Oh,
believed in
it's
you.
Shiva as in Lord Shiva.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're just putting a little bit of context because I've got listeners from all walks of life, so not everybody knows about everything.
yeah,
So we'll put in the show notes a link to the Wikipedia page where people can learn a little bit more
definitely.
about these deities and the symbolism of them as well. So yeah, so you
Great.
created this artwork portraying your grief and your sadness towards this deity who your mom pretty much worshipped day in day out, and
Yeah, and so when I
mm,
posted it, the good thing out of it, it went really viral, but it was also picked up by famous Bollywood people like Anupam Kher, Abhishek Bachchan, Amitabh Bachchan, and those shared my work. So at that time, I became quite familiar into the spiritual market of
uh-huh,
design, actually. So I created more, and at that time, I created my new brand. There, I actually started growing on social media. So what I would do, I would create every day uh, for the DT, their artwork, but also a caption, but with it, uh, could connect with them as well.
yeah.
So on Monday with Shiva, it always would be about ego, selflessness, to be self-aware and letting things go, detachment, all that kind of stuff. And people love the combination of the deity with a real-time message, but they could, kind of reflect on themselves as well.
Mhm.
So the fun thing was, eventually developed into a large following, and people really daily were waiting for me bringing out these kind of messages and captions. Yeah, so it was really strange for me because I was putting literally my heart out there, and it was for me like kind of processing my grief and also my issues. I also suffer from depression, anxiety, insecurities. Yeah, a lot of kind
Don't
of
we
stuff.
all, Shounak?
Yeah, we do,
Don't we
we do,
all?
we do, we do, we do.
This is why I do what I do, because we are all in need for some healing all the time. No, but that's amazing. I'm right there with you. It's so beautiful the way you juxtapose that duality, and this is what's so beautiful about it. So yeah, so that took off, and then where did those roads lead you?
Well, it eventually led to a quite huge fan base, actually. In the years from 2013 till 2020, I reached like 150K followers.
Wow.
And yeah, at that time, there were really huge following. And at that time, I was also one of the most, how to say it? I was one of the first. There were two others, and there was
Mhm.
me, and we kind of spread our work out there with our captions and all. But nowadays with AI, it's kind of totally the market has been loaded with a lot of fake work, same work, no creativity. And with my art, I wanted to trigger people and make people aware. The Hinduism doesn't have to be that strict how people bring it. Like you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this. You know, actually, for me, Dharma is all about being and nothing less. You know,
Mm.
so I just wanted to connect more with the younger generation with through my art, make it in a modern, abstract, minimalism way, but still within the lines of how it was written in the Vedas, and it connected. So like the fun thing was a lot of universities and high tea were like, how does this guy manage to reach such a huge group of youngsters back into Hinduism? Because I understand what they were looking for actually,
Mm.
and yeah, so
I love
that
that, and I think that's where I struggled with a lot as well when I was growing up because I didn't understand because I
yeah,
don't I'll be honest, I'm first generation born here, and my parents were born in East Africa,
yeah,
and originally my family are from North India, Punjab. So
yeah,
the Punjabi that we were speaking at home was actually a mix of Swahili, which is African language as well as
yeah,
Punjabi. So I remember when I was younger, when I was trying to speak the dialect of what I thought was Punjabi, and I'd go to my friend's house, and obviously you want to be respectful to auntie and uncle. So I would try my best, even though
yeah,
Punjabi wasn't my first language, I'd try my best to converse with them in Punjabi. And I remember saying something, and I was asking for an iron because we were going out and I needed to iron my outfit. So I went
yeah,
down and asked my friend's mum, Auntie G, do you have a bossy? I thought we used
yeah.
bossy as an iron. And I says, a bossy hair? And she looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" And I went, "Bossy." And I'm like doing the hand movements, like,
Tewarie.
and then I went, "Iron." And she goes, "Oh, breast cheddar." And I'm like, "Oh." And I went home that day and I went, "Mom,
Yeah,
what's bossy?" And she goes, "You know what? It's a Swahili word." So,
yeah,
that kind of knocked my confidence as well. I was not already not confident about speaking very well, but then
yeah,
that making that mixture, and then also, me growing up in not a traditional Punjabi household, like our family followed a Maharaji. We didn't
yeah.
really go to the Gurdwara. We went to a different ashram, and
Mhm.
so again, everything was in Punjabi and I didn't really understand it. And so I moved away from it a lot. And again, I didn't really like the strictness of the rules. You can't do this, you can't do that. But no one really explained the reasonings behind it. So this is where I feel a lot of the younger generation gets disconnected because
Exactly.
it's not translated. Now, being older, and I see all these things, like people like yourself bringing in that fresh new energy and saying, this is how it relates to today's life. These ancient teachings, what the Bhagavad Gita, the Guru Granth Sahib, all these different texts, how does it relate to today?
Yeah.
People connect with it more. And I really wish there was like translations into English when we were younger, because they would just say, "Oh, you should understand. You should learn Punjabi."
Exactly.
It's like, well, instead of making me learn Punjabi, where also, even when you understand a lot of these texts from the religious and holy scriptures, very
Mhm.
difficult concepts to understand, even if you speak the language, right?
Exactly. For me, like, what I've seen firsthand, it was like when kids would ask the pandit or the priest or whatever, like during a ceremony, like, "What are you doing?" It was like, "Don't ask, just do it. Just perform."
Yes, this is
But why
it,
do I say
right?
swaha? No, just say it and do it. Yeah, but why do you have to do? Why do you have to tie this? Why have to put the flower there and not there? You know, and the pandit was always silencing these questions. And
Yeah. I think at the
yeah,
time it was just you should know, you should know, but how are you supposed to know if somebody doesn't explain it to you?
exactly. So I'm glad that the new generation, they are
Yeah.
asking way more, but then the new generation pundits and priests are way more flexible. They also
Yeah.
speak double languages. They also know how to explain it, and they see like if they get all the correct information to the new generation, like with all the patience and explanations, people get really interested, and like
Yeah.
okay, and it gives the value and the beauty of all these traditions.
It's so right, because basically what we're finding is all of these kind of things, these mantras or affirmations and all these
Yeah,
kind of concepts that we read about in self-development books or all of this kind of new age spirituality, it's not new. It's
no,
all from ancient
yeah,
traditional understandings and culture. It's just been, I suppose, revamped or repurposed to
yeah.
help people make sense of it. But I feel like it's really important that we do understand, coming back to the roots, where has that philosophy come from? A lot of it has come from our cultures. It's
Yeah,
just
definitely.
been remarketed and branded. And now all of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, of course you should be balancing out your chakras. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's pronounced chakras. And, it comes from
yeah,
a whole, philosophy of how you can manage your own energy. And
exactly.
it really does ruffle me a little bit how like yoga has been now westernized to
Personalized.
just being a exercise routine or just about poses. And it's like, no, there's a lot more to it. And now turmeric shots are so good for you. I'm like, we've been doing this for so long. It's like, at least credit where it's coming from.
Also in fashion, it's way too much now, and and and
Well,
and
there's
that's
a lot of things in the fashion industry about how
yeah,
designers are stealing from traditional, not just Indian culture, but from a lot of different ancient cultures in South
yeah,
America and then in the Far East with China and Japan. And it's like you're not even crediting or bringing in the culture and the tradition in a way that's appropriate. You've just made it fashionable or on trend now.
yeah.
But that, we could talk about that so much. But I did want to just bring it back because you mentioned something which I think is so important to talk about right now.
Yeah.
When you talked about how now AI generated images and artwork is out there, how has that impacted the beauty and the uniqueness and the creativity of someone like yourself who puts their heart, their passion, their soul into everything, to then see, an AI generated image that's very similar? Like how do we navigate that space coming from a creative?
Well, for me, it was I'm now almost 19 years long, a creative director, digital artist. So for me, AI was never a threat, never. It was just like extra tool. And for
Mhm,
me, nowadays, it still is. Because
mhm,
when you're so skilled from yourself, and you know how to handle all these tools, this AI is just an extra tool to enhance easier and more fast my ideas. That's the only thing. So for me, it was
mm,
never I was scared or like it will take over my job. No, as long as I keep developing, I keep training myself, keep looking for the newest trends, I can easily convert that into AI. So people are complaining about AI, like to take over jobs, everything. That is because you don't grow with it. You have to embrace it. Don't be
mm,
afraid of it. It's just the same thing with internet, the same thing with photo cameras. All new kind of software and things what's coming, people are always in the beginning afraid and angry. I see so many designers cursing me now, like, yeah, but Shounak is doing all AI now. No, I'm not doing all AI. I'm combining it. I'm embracing it. I'm using it in the right way so I can enhance quicker and more creative ideas. And that's the fun thing because with AI, you can literally make the most crazy ideas you can have it out there. And that's one thing I'm so disappointed about is in the age of AI, people still copy, people still use same old like imagery of Asian gods or whatever. While you can make so many creative stuff right now, it's insane. And that's what I'm trying to do and create also like push yourself more in being creative. See AI as a tool to make your most weirdest idea what you have, put it out there and see what it does. You know? And that's for
mm.
me how I could develop a lot of groundbreaking artwork, viral artwork, because I try to push myself really out there and challenge myself like, what can we do? You know? So in the beginning of AI, I think it was 2021, I was one of the first who already in the beginning stepped in. Because I really wanted to know what's going on. Because if I would step in now, it would be way too late, and I would lose a huge market, and it would be a threat for me. But because I
Mm.
grew along with it, like in the beginning phase of AI, if I would use Shiva or Ganesha or what as a prompt, it would give a weird result, you know. So and nowadays AI, I've learned so much, like all the inputs from millions of people on the internet, like billions now. So AI also grown, and now it's way more kind of used to all these words what you want. Now it's so developed and so upgraded. It's insane. It's like scary. But for
Yeah,
me, like it's like I want more. You know, like what can we do next? What can we? And there,
really?
yeah,
Wow. Because a lot of
yeah,
people have mixed, myself included, I have mixed reviews about how AI is kind of almost taking over. But I do feel you can't fear anything because the more you fear something, the more negative energy you're giving to it.
yeah,
So it's like you said, we need to embrace it. But I also really feel that because of this whole AI move and this move to automation, we as human race, we are now craving more human connection,
yes,
which is going to drive us to be more connected on a human level, which is, I feel, really necessary and important. And so I think, with everything, there is, the positive and also the other end of the spectrum, but it's where you choose to focus your energy on. I love that you said that, you were one of the first to embrace it and you were like, right, it's here. I need to understand it. I need to come in and do it. And that's obviously served you very well because now you've moved into, you've got the very empowering feminist and feminism artwork, which I love. And you have got the Bollywood Boys Club brand, which is one of my
yeah,
favorite brands because for a few reasons. One of the reasons that I actually was drawn to it was not just the beautiful artwork, but because I am a huge Billionaire Boys Club fan as
oh,
well. Because Pharrell, Nerd, although Pharrell at the moment has not been painted in the best light because of all of the stuff that's coming out, right? But back in the day, NERD, super fan. And, I've been on stage twice with Pharrell as well.
Seriously?
Yeah, only because I was super fan. It wasn't because I was like, I mean, I would love to have been part of his backup dancers or entourage, but basically we were at the
Yeah.
front at concerts, and me, my sister, and my two cousins, we were mouthing all the words, and he pointed us out. He actually pointed my sister and my cousin out first, and he was like, "These lot at the front have been mouthing and singing and shouting the lyrics the whole way through." He goes, I haven't done this in a very long time. I'm going to get you guys on stage." And so we all got pulled up on stage. And he actually put his arm around me and he said to me, he goes, "What are we singing?" And I said, "It's got to be Rockstar, my favorite song." And he goes,
Oh my
"Hell
God.
yeah, we're singing Rockstar." And then we sang, we sang the first verse together. It was insane.
Insane,
And
absolutely.
then it happened again the next year we went to see him in concert in London,
Yeah.
a bit of a bigger venue. And then he did it again, but it was amazing. But that's so sorry, I'm going off track here, but
No.
so I had a billionaire billionaire boys club hoodie. I had
Yeah.
like a lot of the merch I still have. So I was drawn to the name. I was like, "Oh, Bollywood Boys Club, tick." Then I looked at the artwork. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this speaks to my heart."
Yeah.
Tick as well. But then this artwork looks familiar because I'd seen your work on Instagram and I followed you on Instagram. And I think it was then afterwards I was like, "Hang on." And you were like, "Yes, I'm the creative director here." I said, "Right." Because I was ready to come at you and say, "Listen, these people have stolen your
Yeah.
designs." I was like, "I've
A lot of people
stolen your
killing.
designs." And then you were
Yeah.
like, "That is me. Those are my designs, by the way."
It's good that you mention it because Bollywood Boys Club is not mine. It's from my partner, it's from
Oh,
another, from Jet Patel. It's his Bollywood Boys Club. I'm the creative director because he had that brand Bollywood Boys Club since for years, and he has his own designs, and we kind of collabed together. It was like, love your designs, love your vision, and I
mhm,
was like, let's go. I have a lot of designs layering around here, and we could create something really, really magical together. So
mm.
that's what we did. So I created the branding, the logo, like the Bollywood Boys Club. And so the whole branding actually started there. And it was really amazing how enthusiastic people were. Like it was so much love. It was
So
insane. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
And you do a lot of collabs now, I see, with the different designers as well. You've got your work out there, which is brilliant. Talk me a little bit into what drew you into making such empowering women's artwork. And was that based on I feel like your mom comes through a lot with that. Is that
yeah,
am I right in
she's
thinking that?
yeah, she's the reason. She's my why.
Mm.
Most people ask me like, Shounak, why do you do this? And I like, so that's why I made a special post about it and I called it the why. And I thought about my mom, and it's like she was my biggest inspiration. And I wanted to do something like, I still am not done with grief. I'm still not over it. I'm still processing it, everything. So, but it was really dragging me down. So I had to find something to bring it positive and do something with it
Mhm.
to honor her light, to honor, because my mom was a very positive person. Even though she'd
Mm.
been through a lot of things in life, she always was very positive. She kept very kind, very soft, and I didn't want to get bitter. So to keep myself positive and in a good direction, I started with quite funny story. I started differently because my relationship stranded like 3, 4 years ago. So I went through a
Mhm.
horrible heartbreak, and I started posting about heartbreak and rock bottom actually. So from heartbreak and rock bottom, I started to share things from my feelings, but I didn't create it male from like male artwork. I created women in
Uh-huh.
saris with the story of
Yeah.
heartbreak. So in that
Yeah.
way, I gathered a female following because they saw like, this guy is creating like heartbreak,
Wow.
but he is
So
channeling it.
one minute. Let me get this
Yeah,
right. So you went through a very intense heartbreak,
yeah,
and then instead of creating it from the male perspective, you put all of your feelings, but put a female avatar in
yeah,
front of it. So all of those things that I've been like, yes, yes, bitch, that's me. It's your heartache talking through
yeah,
this beautiful woman adorned in the traditional Indian culture. You know what? I love that. Thank you so
yeah,
much for sharing that. That has hit so differently now. But that just goes to show it doesn't matter what the avatar is, the feelings and the passion and the emotions are still the same, whether you're a man or a woman or a non-binary or whatever you are.
No,
That's the
let me.
emotion, right?
But it isn't true because the harsh thing is not fun. The harsh thing is I did try to put it in the male form with the exact same story. So I wrote
Really?
also from the male side, yeah. And this is what happened.
Yeah.
So the female went viral with Heartbreak. I really
Uh-huh.
loved it. A lot of likes, hearts, stories, reflection, and like recognizable. Oh, Shounak, blah, blah, blah. Then I put it from a male perspective with a male character in art, etc. It didn't go. It didn't win. Like
Wow.
maybe 1, 2 likes only. Like everybody saw it, nobody responded. And that was for me the harsh reality. Like when it comes to men, and it's like a really, really thing what I've seen a lot of things, people don't care. People don't care about our feelings. It's like,
Wow.
like I love Chris Rock. He said it once very beautifully. He said,
Mm.
"Women, animals, and children are getting loved like unconditionally. Men, we have to earn it. We have to do things. We have to bring things to the table. We have to, And that was
Mm.
for me the harsh reality because I really thought like people understand me. That's why I'm bringing it in a female form. So hopefully they'll understand me from a man's side as well. But
Mhm.
people kind of really avoid it or kind of, let it go. Men as well. Men also, they see it, and some of them are like nice, but they, it's like they're scared to embrace like their soft side and like their
Yes.
vulnerability. So at that point, I really was like, I gotta push this through, but more from me
Mm.
than on the other side, which was going
So
really well.
this is so interesting, and I suppose we could have a whole episode on just this topic about
Definitely, definitely.
how the male and the female is perceived so differently, because there is a lot of stigma behind men
Yeah,
getting in touch with their vulnerability and their emotions because it's seen as weak is, far from the truth. In fact, if you show up and be vulnerable and tap into that softness, it's actually the strongest thing you could do, because to wear your heart on the sleeve and to showcase your emotions, whether you're a man or a woman, I think with women, I'll be honest, yeah, there is a little bit more support and care.
yeah,
However, there is still a fine line that you can be branded an emotional wreck or someone who's not in control of their feelings. So still a very blurry line of what's seen to be, I'm in touch with my emotions and I'm being vulnerable and authentic, versus you're just not strong enough to handle things. But
yeah,
on the other side with the men, it's like, you have to shut it down and you have to put that brave face on when things are going on underneath as well. So it's really on both sides of the spectrum. And I feel like I see and hear what you're saying about the whole no one cares when it's a man. But I
yeah,
think that's come from the fact that as women, there has been so much like being pushed against women for women not to have had a voice for so long, for women
yeah,
not to have had the space to occupy the same way as a man has. So
yeah,
sometimes it can feel like that, but there is also, again, two sides of everything. And when you only concentrate on one aspect of it, that can be quite a dangerous place to live. I think it's really important that we have these conversations and actually keep having these conversations and discussing it and making people aware that, listen, we are all the same. Again, when you take gender out of it, when you take this very thin layer of skin that is keeping us separate, that
yeah,
makes us look separate and gives us an identity, actually, only I think 10% of the whole body is skin. So when you take that 10% away, 20% of us as a human, we are
yeah,
all exactly the same. So,
exactly.
but we concentrate on that 10% that is so different, being a man, being a person of color, being, you know, whatever it is, a Muslim or Christian or Sikh or Hindu or whatever. That's
Yeah,
a very small percentage of who we actually are. And the feelings, like you going through your heartbreak, you going through your grief, is that energy, that emotion, that pain will translate to anyone, no matter what age
exactly.
they are, no matter what race they are, no matter what gender they are, because we all feel the same in those kind of respects, right? There might be slight nuances, but the
Yeah, sure.
essential core of that pain or that love or that grief or that determination or that courage that you also have had and shown, we can all resonate because we've all had those feelings before. So I just find it really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that, because obviously I see it from an outsider point of view. You just see what you're shown,
Yeah.
but actually the story behind it is very different. So
Yeah,
very interesting.
because for me it was like from from a very young age, I was very easy to express my feelings and to be in touch with my feelings and put it in words. So there was something from
Hmm.
childhood, from a very young age. But the thing was like I never understood why for people it was so hard to say it, and especially with men, to express their feelings. Like when you cried, your dad would be like, "Why are you crying? You're not a girl. Come on, man up."
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. Even when my mom passed away, they were like, "Shounak, stay strong, don't cry." And I was like, "Are you insane? My mom passed away. How can I not cry?" You know?
I know. Oh
And I,
my
wa- and I, I
God.
wa- and
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you for saying that.
yeah, and there were people I were like, even elders, they were like, "Shaunak, stay strong." And I asked them, "When your mom passed away, were you also that strong?" They're like, "How can you say that, beta?" I'm like, "No, but were you?" And they're like, "No, I was crying, so let me cry." I was so
Oh,
fed up, like, let me
you
be
know what?
me. Yeah,
I'm so glad you've brought that up. And I do talk about this a lot whenever I talk about grief. You know, if there's ever a time that you
mm,
don't have to be strong, because we have to be strong every single day, okay? Like
yeah,
every single day, you have to be strong in some way, shape, or form, because the days that you're feeling low, you still have to show up, you still get on, you do
yeah,
things, right? The few times in life where you don't have to be strong and you don't have to do things by yourself is when a loved one dies, because it is awful. That's where
yeah,
you rely on people for support. That's when your body needs to expel that pain. A very good way of expelling that pain and that trauma in your body is to release. And sometimes you release through your eyes by crying. Sometimes you release through shouting. You release in different ways. I don't know why we try to suppress that, because you should let it out and then you move through the emotions, right? I'm glad I'm not the only one, because when my dad passed, they were like, "Oh, Nani, don't cry. Be strong for your dad." And my answer was like, if my dad wanted to be strong, then why did he go? Why was he taken then? If he wants me to be strong, then he shouldn't have gone. And they're like, "Oh, no, you can't think like that." And I'm like, it's one of the thoughts that I had. And it's a very valid thought. We learn a little bit more as we go through our journey of grief. And I love, like you said, we're always still grieving. I don't think the grief journey ever ends. It just becomes different. And I'm going to quote famous comedian, because my brother and sister actually sent me a reel a few days ago from Jimmy Carr. And Jimmy Carr says it about grief. It would be sad if you weren't sad. And the grief is a price that you pay for love. And when he said that, I was like, wow, because everything has to have an exchange. The love that you had for that person one day will become grief, because that's the price we pay for love. And that, when you said it like that, I was like, that's beautiful. And that actually helps us to own grief and be okay with grief, because it's not a bad thing. And I say awareness and acceptance are your superpowers. And that's exactly what I teach and help my clients through with the programs. I help people understand themselves better, and I help them get to that level of acceptance, awareness. And once you can do that for yourself, your whole world changes, because your whole world is inside you. But lots of people think that the world is outside of us. But actually, like you just said, the only thing that you have control of is yourself, your emotions, and your energy. But most of us don't realize how powerful we are. So when we can help people reclaim that power, reconnect to that power, and you do that so beautifully with your artwork and your creations, because it's that reminder that someone can see that and read that caption and connect with that beauty, that person. It was like, oh, I see myself in that picture. I see myself in that caption. And I wanted to share with you, just as we end, as part of one of my programs is called Warrior of Your World. It's a 2-month intensive healing and coaching program. And it's like 2 years worth of therapy in 2 months. And we choose avatars as our warriors. Like, okay, what kind of warrior would you be? Let's like make a picture, like and describe the person that you show up to battle. This is your alter ego. One of my clients, when she showed me a picture, she goes, "I always resonate with this badass woman. It was one of your designs." I was like, I know that person who drew that. And I was like, yes, I will share it with you. And I just was like, in my head, I was like, I'm going to be doing a podcast with him soon. I'm going to tell him this, because she really resonated so much with that image. She was like, that's my warrior. That's me. I would love to be her. I'd love to grab her energy. And so we've been working for the last 2 months on helping her become that version of an image that you created. And that for her was, she was able to visualize it for herself. Do you know what I mean? So what you're doing is so much more than, you know, artwork, and it's you're really healing people in your own way. And I just wanted to share that with you because it was so beautiful when I saw it. I was like, I know him and I know that person. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because it was amazing. This is it. Awareness and acceptance, baby. That's what it, and I love that you're saying that. None of us are doing anything new. None of us, no one has come up really with anything crazily new, because when you trace it all the way back, it's something that our ancestors have been saying in a different way. And we're just reminders. I love that. I love that you just said that. We're just reminding. We're all reminding each other. We're all reflecting a mirror to each other. We're holding up that thing to say, hey, this is me, but it's also you. And I think that's such a beautiful way to sort of bring this episode to an end. But like I said, I could literally sit here and talk to you all day. So it's that time, people. If it is safe for you to do so, please go ahead, close your eyes. I'm going to lead us into a 1-minute meditation. Just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a few seconds and then breathe out through your mouth, dropping your shoulders, relaxing your jaw. And just from the conversation that we've had today, I want to really tap into our creativity, our creation chakra, the sacral chakra, which is just below your navel. So if you want to, you can actually put your hands just below your navel, connect to that energy center there, and just take a few deep breaths in, pushing your stomach out. And then as you breathe out, pulling that stomach in, knowing that here in your sacral energy center, the center of passion, of purpose, of creation, where you were born, where you were grown in your mother's womb, this is where you can create whatever it is you wish to create in this world. So really tap into the center here. Breathe into your creativity, breathe into your passion, and connect to your energy here. And make sure you bring out your uniqueness into the world, because it's very much needed. There is no one else like you, and there is no one else that's ever been here on this planet that has your energy, your uniqueness. You are needed, you are wanted, you are seen. So take a deep breath in and out as you open your eyes. I'm going to leave all your links in the show notes. So please, everyone, do go ahead, check out his artwork. It is fantastic. And if anybody is struggling to believe in themselves, come and have a chat with me, because I believe in you. I really do. And sometimes we just need someone else to be like, you don't have to believe in yourself, but I believe in you. So do it for someone else, because sometimes that's easier. And then we have to work through getting to believe in ourselves, because that is sometimes can be very hard for people. So I just want to put it out there. If you need a cheerleader, if you need someone to believe in you, I'm here. This is what I do for people. Remember to like, share, comment, download this episode, tag us on your socials. We'll share it, we'll retag, and let's get let's all help each other, collaborate, and get seen and be accepted in this world. Because like you've said, in this episode, that's all we really want. We want to be loved, seen and heard and held. And we're all here. There's 8 billion people on this planet, so no one should ever feel alone. And on that note, I will see you all in the next episode, sending you love, light and blessings.